The Antichrist's empire will target these three nations first. An empire will rise unlike any the world has ever seen, and nations will submit. A single man will lead it, the Antichrist. You will be shocked when you find the three nations the Antichrist will target first. By the time you hear the third nation, you'll realize why this order matters, and why the rest of the world will follow like dominoes. Nation number 1, Israel. Why would Jesus tell his followers to run into the wilderness? What are they running from? And what are they running toward? Today, we will look at a mystery about the end times. One Jesus spoke about, one Revelation confirms, and one that will impact Israel in a way the world has never seen. Because when the Antichrist rises, some will stay, but some will run. And those who obey Jesus might be the only ones who live. Look at how exact his warning is. Jesus didn't just say, "Flee from evil," or "Avoid dangerous places." He said, "Let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains." Judea means modern-day Israel and the West Bank. The center of the Holy Land will become the most dangerous place on earth during the tribulation. But why would Jesus tell people to run from the land God promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? This warning is urgent for our time. We can already see the setup for it. Israel is surrounded by enemies who want to destroy it. The United Nations passes more rulings against Israel than against any other nation in the world. There's more to know about this warning. Jesus knew history. Revelation 12:6 says, "Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days." God has already made safe places in the wilderness for those who obey and leave Judea. These are not random hiding spots. They are special places God chose where He will provide for His people during the last 3.5 years of the tribulation. But this warning is not just for the Jewish people in Israel. It is for anyone in that region when the tribulation starts. If you plan to visit the Holy Land, move to Israel, or have family or business there, Jesus' warning is clear. When you see the abomination of desolation, don't stop to get your things. Don't delay. Flee to the mountains right away. Your life will depend on how fast you obey His order to leave. Nation number 2. Takeover of the Three Kings Empire. The Antichrist will rise. But before he rules over all nations, he will face 3 powerful kings and destroy them. This isn't a guess. It's written in prophecy, clear as day. Before whom 3 fell, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Daniel 7:8. Why these 3? What do they stand for? And could we already be seeing the pieces in place? The 10 nations prophecy comes straight from the Bible. It's in the books of Daniel and Revelation. Daniel 7 talks about 10 horns on a scary beast. Revelation 17:12 says, "The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast." These 10 kings stand for 10 nations or leaders who will rise to power in the last days. They will work together under the Antichrist and form a worldwide system that goes against God. But here's the question: are we already seeing signs of this happening? Let's look at Daniel's vision. In chapter 7, Daniel sees 4 beasts. Each one stands for a kingdom. But the last beast is different. It's stronger, more frightening, and it has 10 horns. These horns mean 10 future kings or nations. That's not all. In Revelation 17, the Apostle John also sees 10 horns. They match Daniel's vision. Together, these visions give us a picture of a future group, a team of 10 leaders who will rise together in the end times. The question is, are these nations already starting to work together today? Let's take a closer look. It gets even more interesting here. Daniel saw a little horn rise among the 10. It spoke with pride and took control. This little horn is the Antichrist. He will use the 10 nations to set up his rule over the whole world. But here's the twist. These 10 nations may look strong and united, but they're actually weak inside. Just like iron mixed with clay in the statue from Daniel 2. Could this weakness help us figure out who these nations are today? Stay with me, because we're about to put some big pieces together. Now let's slow down, because this is where things get real. We've talked about the prophecy and the visions in Daniel and Revelation, but what about the world today? Could these 10 nations be forming alliances right under our noses? Let's connect some dots. Throughout history, kingdoms and alliances have come and gone, from Babylon to Rome, but none have ruled the whole world together. Then, in the last 100 years, something big happened. The world began to feel smaller, not because it shrank, but because of technology, trade, and global problems that pushed nations to work together. After 2 world wars, the United Nations was born, promising to keep peace and safety around the world. Then came NATO, the European Union, and other groups that joined countries together. But could this unity be setting the stage for something much bigger? Something the Bible talked about? The European Union comes up often when people talk about the 10 nations. Why? Because it looks a lot like the picture Daniel saw. The EU started as a trade group, but grew into a political and military force. Here's the interesting part. Some Bible teachers say the EU is like the feet of iron and clay from Daniel's statue. It's strong in some ways, but weak in others. It may look powerful, but its divisions make it unstable. Could this be the beginning of the 10-nation alliance? But the EU isn't alone. Around the world, there's a push for regional unity. In Asia, we have ASEAN. In Africa, there's the African Union. The Middle East has the Arab League. These groups are gaining more influence, shaping trade, and even working together militarily. Could the 10 nations of prophecy come from these areas? It's possible. The Bible doesn't name them. It only says they will join together under the Antichrist. As these alliances grow, the stage could be getting ready for the prophecy to happen. Here's another thing. World problems are speeding up the need for unity. Climate change, pandemics, and shaky economies are pushing nations to cooperate like never before. But unity costs something. It costs freedom. Revelation 17:13 says, "They have one purpose, and will give their power and authority to the beast." Could these problems push nations to give up their independence in exchange for peace and safety? And if that happens, who will they follow? The puzzle pieces are falling into place. But what's the next step? Could there be a moment that forces these 10 nations to stand together? Let's look deeper. Now think about money. Trade alliances are the backbone of working together in the world. But they also make countries depend on each other. If one nation needs another for goods and services, it can start to shape politics and even military choices. For example, the European Union isn't just about trade. It has its own currency and laws that affect millions of people. The World Trade Organization and trade deals like NAFTA have changed entire economies. But here's the problem. When one nation struggles, it affects all the others. Could this kind of connection be what ties the 10 nations together? Technology is another big part. In Daniel's time, this kind of worldwide teamwork would have been impossible. But now, technology is tearing down borders fast. The internet connects people instantly. Governments are using artificial intelligence, data networks, and digital money to make things more efficient and more controlled. Here's something to think about. Digital money like Bitcoin or central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, are changing how we use money. Imagine if all nations used the same digital currency. It would make trading easy, but also give huge control to one system. Could this be part of the 10-nation plan, helping a global leader rise? And don't forget the military. Groups like NATO show how nations can join forces for protection. But as these groups grow, so does their power. Today, we see nations sharing advanced weapons, training together, and planning for worldwide threats. Now picture this, a group of 10 nations combining their armies into one powerful force. Revelation 17:12 says, "These 10 kings will get power for 1 hour, a short time." That means their power will be huge, but it won't last. Could we be watching the start of this right now? But here's where it gets even more serious. The Bible makes it clear that these 10 nations won't act on their own. They will give their power to the Antichrist. This world leader will promise peace and answers to the world's problems, but it will come with a price. Revelation 13:7 warns us, "He was given power to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them. And he was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation." The 10 nations will unite under his control, building a system that looks strong but will eventually fall apart. The signs are all around us. We see global alliances, new technology, and economies depending on each other like never before. But what's missing? How will these 10 nations finally join together? Let's keep moving. History shows that unity often comes from crisis. Wars, sicknesses, and financial collapses can force nations to work together. Now think about a crisis so big that it shakes the whole world. A crisis that demands quick and united action. Could it be a financial crash, a cyber attack that destroys major economies, or a massive disaster in nature like we've never seen? Whatever it is, the Bible shows that chaos will come before the 10 nations rise. In Revelation 6:6, when the third seal is opened, it brings economic trouble. A quart of wheat for a day's wages, and 3 quarts of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. This could be the storm that forces nations to stand together for one cause. So, which nations might fulfill this prophecy? The Bible doesn't name them, but it gives hints. Many Bible teachers believe the 10 nations will come from what is left of the Roman Empire, which once ruled over Europe, parts of the Middle East, and North Africa. But what about other world powers like China, Russia, or the United States? Could they be part of this group? Or will they stay outside of it, fighting against it? These are questions that keep both Bible teachers and believers watching closely. Remember the feet of iron and clay in the statue from Nebuchadnezzar's dream? This picture is important for understanding the 10 nations. Iron stands for strength, maybe military or economic power. Clay stands for weakness, showing division inside the group. This matches what we see today. Nations may work together for a goal, but their unity is weak, full of disagreements and mistrust. Could this be why the Bible calls the kingdom partly strong and partly brittle? It may look powerful on the outside, but its base will not be solid. Look at the European Union. It's one of the strongest alliances in the world, but it is far from perfect. Brexit proved that unity can break when national interests clash with group goals. Now, think about 10 nations trying to run the world together. Can you imagine the arguments and tension behind closed doors? Yet this chaos could be the very thing the Antichrist uses. If he shows himself as the one who can fix the problems, the nations will trust him, at least for a while. The Bible says this group, no matter how powerful it seems, will not last. Revelation 17:14 says, "They will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them, because he is Lord of lords and King of kings." Even though the 10 nations will rise, their fight against God will lead to their fall. This is both a warning and a comfort. For believers, it reminds us that God's kingdom cannot be shaken. For the world, it's a wake-up call to notice the signs before it's too late. So, what does this mean for us now? Are we just watching, or are we part of this prophecy as it unfolds? Let's keep moving forward to see the answer. Think about the world today. Every headline says the same thing. The world is getting more connected and more fragile. Global unity is no longer just a dream. It is being pushed as a must-have. But here's the truth about unity. It's a double-edged sword. On the surface, it promises peace and progress. Leaders meet for big events, shake hands, give speeches, and make plans to save the world. And yes, it looks polished, like a well-planned show. But underneath, there is tension. Nations want to work together, but they also want to protect themselves. This kind of weak unity is exactly what the Bible showed in Daniel's vision. But here's the problem. Every time a crisis comes, the answers often mean giving up more independence and more freedom. Borders fade, laws change, and more power goes to global leaders and organizations. Could these crises be preparing the way for the 10 nations the Bible talks about? Could today's push for unity be more than just about solving problems? If so, who is really in control? Here's what's both amazing and scary. The alliances we see today may look strong, but they are fragile. Just like iron and clay, they don't fully mix. Nations may agree on trade or climate issues, but the moment their own needs come first, cracks show. But there's another part we cannot ignore: technology. In our time, technology connects people in ways Daniel could have never imagined. Satellites watch the whole Earth. Digital money is changing how economies work. Artificial intelligence tracks everything, from what you buy to how nations protect themselves. On one side, these things are amazing. They fix problems and make life easier. But on the other side, they give power to fewer and fewer people. Picture a world where every dollar you spend, every place you go, and every choice you make is tracked and controlled. Is it too far to say technology could help bring together the 10 nations? Or that it could give the Antichrist the tools he needs to rule? The pieces are coming together faster than we think. I know this might feel heavy. It's easy to look at what's happening and think the world is falling apart. But remember this, none of it surprises God. The Bible is not just an old book. It's a guide showing us what is happening now and what will happen next. No matter how chaotic it gets, God's plan is still moving forward exactly as He said.